Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Today is the 1st of December 2024, and this is my second ever stream. Oh, one second, I need to start recording. I haven't started recording yet. Um, although I probably will not need it, but let me just hit start. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Today is December the 1st of 2024, and yeah, this is my second stream. And today we are going to go back to the PR that I made last week. And yeah, this time I'm streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, or Twitch and YouTube. But yeah, sorry it took a while for me to get started with the stream. As always, not always. But yeah, I planned to start the stream like 2 hours ago, but then I had to figure out how to start the stream on both platforms because apparently you need a custom plugin. And yeah, but I guess here we are now. So yeah, I'm not sure if anyone is watching yet, but I guess I'll start off with a quick recap of where we are today. Actually, let me just stop the music. Um, okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me just switch to the correct window. Okay. So, yeah, last week we worked on this ticket about a bug on Oracle if you try to do a hash-key lookup with Oracle on a JSON field where it would crash if you try to do it with a key that contains a single quote. And yeah, we made a PR last week to fix it. Let me just open it here. Okay, one second. Yeah, so I think last week we had this discovery that for some reason there were two test cases that I was surprised to find that they still work. Okay, so I'm not sure if I should go through the whole thing again, but um, I guess a quick recap is I don't know where to start. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to go through the ticket again because we already did it last week. But I'm going to talk a bit about the fix where we use this custom delimiter on Oracle. Yeah, so when we want to pass the JSON path, we are going to use this custom delimiter instead of just a simple single quote and then whatever the literal is and then close it with single quotes. Because the problem was um, for the ASCII lookups, and I also found out that this also happens with other um, with the key transform lookups. So I guess trying to show you what the functions is. Okay, yes. So we wanted to implement. Well, we already have implemented the hash key lookup using the JSON exists function on Oracle. But the problem was when you want to specify the key, Oracle does not support using bind parameters. And yeah, so we need to format the key directly in the SQL string. And normally this is not a good solution for many reasons. One of them is the possibility of SQL injection. But since we don't have any other solution to make the feature work, um, we did it anyway, but with a workaround where well, not a workaround. Um, so for each key that we want to specify in the path, um, we instead of just doing like $.a, we quote the a with double quotes. And let me just um, so let's say you want to do this query, right? So instead of doing this, we we write the query in this way, where each key. So let's say it's um, it's nested like this, and then you want to query for JSON exists um, a dot b, so that yeah, you want to query whether the key B exists inside the key A inside the root object. And technically, you can do this without the double quotes. So you just do $.a.b, but we use the double quotes so that if you have a key that contains a dot, you can also do it. Like, yeah, so if it's like a.x, this is not going to work if you didn't have the double quotes, because that's going to mean a different thing. It's going to be like the key X inside the key A. So yeah, we use double quotes, and to do this, we let me just yields JSON. We use JSON dumps to serialize the string so that it automatically gives you the double quotes, and also it automatically handles, like, if you have double quotes inside the string, it's going to be escaped like oops, sorry, like this, basically. And yes, so that worked, and it helps against SQL injection. But technically it could still happen on Oracle, but instead of like a full-blown SQL injection, it's just going to be a crash because the query is not going to be correct. And yeah, Simon suggested we use either the passing clause or a different escaping strategy to avoid this issue. And so the passing clause is, it allows you to use bind variables to, so instead of formatting the string directly, you can use bind parameters as you do with other lookups, um, or like any other database expressions in Django. Like this is the SQL string, and then the parameters are sent separately. But yeah, last week we spent like 2 hours, maybe three, trying to get this to work. But I don't think it's possible to use this to specify the key itself. Like in the Oracle examples, they only give you examples where the bind parameters are used to do like this query, for example, whether the value of uh, whether the value at the key PO number is greater than whatever the value passed from the bind parameters. So you cannot use this D variable as part of the key itself. You can only use it to compare the values. So yeah, I spent like 2 or 3 hours just to try whether it works at all. But yeah, it didn't. So I don't think it's supported. And our only option was to use this different escaping strategy, where instead of using simple single quotes, you put a q prefix to the single quote, and then you can use custom delimiter, which can be any character, and then you put all the values, like the string that you want inside of it, and then you close it with the custom delimiter followed with a single quote. And these quote delimiter, if it's one of if it's one of these characters, then you also need to use the corresponding closing characters. But in other cases, if it's a different character other than these ones, you just need to use the same character to close it. So last week, we initially tried using, for example, this curly braces, but that didn't solve the issue, because if you have a closing curly brace followed by a single quote, that's still going to trigger the same issue where the SQL is escaped. Um, so it's the same issue, but with the custom delimiter instead of just the single quote. And then I tried using I was thinking about, so what's the least likely used character that we can use as the delimiter. And then I tried, let's just say, an emoji, and for some reason, it works. And well, the it works part, it wasn't a surprise because, well, it's just any other character, right? But I was surprised that if I put a single quote after the emoji, for some reason it doesn't escape the SQL. So yeah, we didn't run the same. We didn't run into the same issue um, uh, as we do if we use one of these characters, or like any other character really. And then I googled like least used character in Unicode. Oops, I think there's right. Yeah. So this Stack Overflow question is basically asking the same question as I did, and someone suggested using the Unicode character with the code FFFF, and it's a non-character code point, and apparently Java uses that to signal that a character iterator is done. So it's something that's already used in some places, like for example in Java. And yeah, we're not the only one using this if we do use it. And then so I tried using this UFFF character, right? And it works. And I was surprised to find out that if I put a test case with like UFFF single quote, it also doesn't break for some reason. Because with emoji, I had a hunch that, well, maybe because some emojis are actually multiple characters, like for example, let's say the Indonesian flag emoji, right? Um, it's actually a combination of two different characters, the I regional indicator symbol, and the letter for D. So combining ID, which is um, the original code for Indonesia, you get the Indonesian flag emoji. So let's, I think, so if I copy this and I paste this here, okay, never mind. But yeah, so I guess let me show you if I do the length of this character. It's actually two characters. So you can't see it. It's, well, I guess you can. That's the I part. And then the one is D. So yeah, let's say, yeah, so for example, for Ireland, it's IE. So this means if I um, combine, one second, so let me just, ID, whoops, right. Ah, as you can see, it's my terminal is having problems with the fact that it's actually two characters. Okay, let me just copy it again. ID. Ah, right. Okay, and then Ireland, or I guess, yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this, but IE. So ID 0 plus ID, sorry, IE 1, you get the Ireland flag as well. Let's try like Sweden, for example, right? Um, so if I do ID 0 plus SE1, yeah, I get the Ireland flag. So yeah, emojis and um, other symbols, they can consist of multiple characters technically. So that's why when I tested this with an emoji, I wasn't really surprised when I saw that this particular test it passed because, well, um, for the delimiter, Oracle, like the database only expects a single character, right? So it's only going to take the first part, like the first character of the emoji, and use that as the delimiter, and the rest will be put into the literal itself. So when you do this, it's not going to match the closing. Um, well, because this is going to be like the second part plus the single quote, it's not going to match the first character in here. Well, yeah. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So that was one thing, but the the meanwhile with the UFFF character that I used, it's it's a different thing, right? Because it's only a single character. Like if I put this in my Python shell, right? It's just a single character. Yeah, so I was surprised with this test case in particular because, yeah, this should have escaped the SQL query. Because let me just give you an example. So instead of doing this, we do q, well, yeah, this invisible character is the UFFFF character. And then I do this, right? And then somewhere in the keys, for example, if I have like this, as you can see, even the syntax highlight on my VS Code, it tells you that this X and B, that's no longer part of the literal that we have in here. Because, yeah, it already escapes the this SQL query. Like, this is going to be a different thing entirely. So technically, this should crash the database again. Like, it's going to result in a failing query, but apparently not. Because yeah, I put the test case here, but um, the tests themselves, like they were passing. And let me actually run the test locally. Oh, sorry. Right, it passed. So yeah, and yeah, Simon was surprised as well. And then I spent a few days thinking about it in my free time and like thinking what could potentially cause this. And apparently it's because we use JSON dumps to quote the keys, right? And if we do JSON dumps, if we try to serialize this character, so yeah, Python will serialize this with in the escaped form of the character, which is valid. Like if we do JSON loads, JSON dumps delimiter, that gives us the same character. Like yeah, sorry. Yeah, yeah. So it's equal, right? But I guess I expected the JSON.dumps to just serialize it as is in the case of like because it is also valid to have it directly in your SQL, sorry, in your JSON string, like um, JSON loads this character, right? Oh yeah, um, yeah. So let me just actually let's use an F string, like yeah. So that works. I guess I'll just use the JavaScript console to illustrate the point. Let me clear the output and zoom. Okay, yeah, so what I'm trying to say is, let's say I have this character, right? Delimiter. Ah, limiter this. Okay. And then if I do JSON stringify, which is like the JSON that dumps in Python, okay, yeah, it gives us the escaped form, right? So if we do like dot length, oh, actually no, it's not the escaped format. Okay, So there's only three characters, but in Python, this thing, it's 8 characters. So yeah, so it's actually this string, right? And but both are valid because you can do like JSON.parse. Oh, sorry, I don't think you can see this because my camera. Let me just resize the window. All right. So JSON.parse with this thing. Oh, I guess I'll just copy this. Right. So this gives us that character, but you can also express it with this. Oop, right. Yeah. So they yield the same thing. They give you the same thing, and it's just because in JSON you can either use the same um, like the actual character itself, but if, for example, let's say your system doesn't support storing these characters, like the character set is limited, it doesn't support this kind of characters, you can write it using the Unicode um, number, like using this escape sequence. So both are valid, right? And now the reason why this works is because let me yep. So when we write this in the Python code for the SQL query, this is going to be the single character UFFF, like this thing, like this, basically. And then also, let me find it. Yeah, so for example, in here, it's also going to be like that. But then this percent %s, the placeholder for the JSON path, where we do compile JSON path, which uses JSON.dumps, um, that is going to escape the this character inside the key into this format. So as far as Oracle is concerned, it's not going to be the same thing. So yeah, so this is going to be the delimiter, right? And if we have a key that contains that character, Django will write the query as something um, like this. So yeah, even if we have a single quote after that, it's not going to be a problem because it's going to be different to this delimiter. So yeah, we managed to solve the problem. Okay, let me just undo these changes. Okay, so yeah, so that's basically why the test passed anyway. I don't know if I explained that very well. I don't think I did, but yeah, I hope you get the idea. Um, okay, let me. Okay, I just want to make sure that the stream is still running fine because there's no one in the chat at the moment. Um, yeah, so if you're watching this on whether it's on YouTube or on Twitch, um, yeah, if you don't mind, writing something in the chat, I would really appreciate it because then I would know that someone is actually watching and like this is currently working. Okay, I'll just assume it works. Okay. Um, hey, there is Finishan in the chat. Hello. I hope you can hear me okay. All right. Yeah. Welcome to the stream. I was just explaining um, the fix that I made last week, and yeah, because apparently there was something that I didn't quite understand why my code works, but apparently it does, and yeah, I figured out why. So I tried to explain why that was the case. All right. Yeah. So that was the solution, and Marviush has reviewed my PR. So he said that it's a clever workaround. So thank you, Marviush. And he said that we don't need a separate feature flag for SQLite just to signify this double quotes issue on SQLite. So um, yeah, he suggested skipping the test instead. Okay. I guess the problem with skipping the test is that we won't be notified if this issue is fixed on SQLite. Okay. Finish and said, not a software engineer, but nice to see how you guys actually do things. Oh yeah. Well, welcome. Yeah, thank you. I hope you're enjoying the stream anyway, because yeah, it might be a bit too specific for too specific to people who know about Django. So yeah, if you watch it and you don't understand a thing or two, it's completely normal because yeah, it's quite deep in the Django internals right now. But yeah, I appreciate you coming along anyway. So yeah, um, yeah. Let me just go to SQLite features. Skip. Okay. Skips. Right. Yeah. The problem with skipping the test is that we won't be notified. Well, notified if this issue ever get well, if SQLite fixes the issue in a newer version that the CI use. Um, should I make it a? Is there like an expected fail? Oh, there is. Okay. Yep. Okay. That's great. Yes. So I think we'll just use this. Um, yeah, I'll explain why in a minute, but yeah, I'll leave that for now. And yeah, Marius said that the test is quite complicated to understand, which fair enough, because I think initially I tried to, well, I tried to add multiple database feature flags because I couldn't get the fix to work on Oracle. So I was about to add like support single quotes in JSON field lookups, and then also supports double quotes in JSON field lookups. But it turns out I only need the double quotes one for SQLite. So yeah, the other values ended up being like empty lists. Okay, I would split them. Yeah, that's a good idea. Because now that we know the issue only remains on SQLite, I think we can just split the test. Okay, um, let's just copy it as is and see what happens. Like, okay. So the changes are, yeah, it's now just a simple list. And yeah, not quite sure what other changes there are. Let me just 1 second. Okay. Okay. Now this, yeah, this is much easier to read. Yeah, so we no longer use a dictionary. Okay, JSON value, test keys. Yeah, that that works for me. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's run the test on Oracle. Okay, nice. And actually, I made this little script to run it on all the databases. So let me just do that. Okay, nice. And this is Oracle. Okay, so of all those tests, the failing one was on SQLite as expected, because yeah, it has an issue where it doesn't support having double quotes inside your keys. Because so let's say this, right? I think on SQLite it says there is no JSON exists function. So um, instead of this, you would do like JSON type is not null. And yeah, SQLite doesn't really like the keys to contain single quotes. Sorry, double quotes. Um, so actually, I think I'll just show you in DB fiddle. Okay, so select JSON type. Right. So yeah, to implement the hash-key lookup, we use the JSON type and combine it with the condition of it's not null, because um, yeah, if if the JSON object contains the key that we are looking for, it's going to return the type. Like for example, in this case, it's text. But if we query for a key that doesn't exist, it's going to be null. So yeah, to detect whether the key exists or not, we just add is not null. Right. And the problem with SQLite is if this, let me just show you. So JSON stringify. If I have an object that contains a double quote in the key, like this, and I want to select this key without using double quotes, sorry, like if I do this, let me just show you. Oh, that's interesting. Hmm. Do I need this? Okay, yes. Wait, that's not right. Hmm, that's interesting. Or do I need it this way? Nope. That's interesting. Let me just select JSON. Right. So this is the right way to escape a double quote in your key, I think. Because if we do console.log, right, yes. That's the same thing. Okay. And then if we want to do JSON type, does this work? Hmm. Yeah, looks like it just it doesn't like it if there's a double quote in your key. Like you cannot use this JSON type function or like JSON extract, for example. Yep. Okay. Whereas without the quote, it should work just fine. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So SQLite just doesn't support it, and that's why the test fails. So there isn't really anything that Django can do here. So we just expect the test to fail. Okay. Yeah. So now that we have split the test, we can also update the database features for SQLite to have this Django test expected failures, to have another one which is in model fields dot test JSON field dot test querying dot this. Oh, not this one, the second one. Okay, now if we run the test again for SQLite, yeah, we now have this expected failures. So this means we expect this test to fail, and if it fails, the overall test suite will pass. And if the test doesn't fail, it will fail the test suite because we expect it to fail. And if it turns out that it passes, um, that's not what we expect, right? So we treat it as an actual failure. So just to show you, if I instead write the other test method here, if I expect that one to fail, and then I let's see, yeah, if I move like or like comment out this test, and then I run the test again. What's that? Short description. What? That's interesting. I think. Uh, hmm. I'm not sure what this error is. Oh yeah, but it's unexpected success, right? I think this should be. Maybe we need to add a description. Maybe a doc string. Hmm. That's interesting. Not sure why it's a tuple, but anyway, yeah. If the test passes and we expect it to fail, it's gonna, well, technically it shouldn't give you this error, but it should be something about the unexpected success. Like as you can see here, there's this U which is unexpected. So yeah, let me just undo that to test the double quotes. Okay, sorry, I just saw the chat finish and said, so if you fail, you pass. Yeah, yeah, with the expected failure, if you fail, you pass. That's one way to put it. Okay, right, yes, because it's expected, right? Okay, all right. So yeah, I think we have it. So if SQLite ever fixes it, fixes the issue in a new version, for example, and then Django's CI uses that version, the test is going to fail. Well, like the test suite is going to fail because the test that was expected to fail somehow passes. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. And I think I'm going to add some code comments for this UFFF escape sequence to explain it um, to the to anyone who reads this code. Okay. Use custom delimiter to avoid the key. Well, JSON path to prevent, I guess, to prevent the JSON path from escaping the placeholders. I guess escaping the literal, the SQL yeah, the SQL literal. This is possible because, well, the JSON path is wrapped in, no, the JSON path is put through, well, is escaped, well, I'm not sure, is serialized with, is, well, is double quoted, I guess, is wrapped in each key in the JSON path is wrapped in double quotes using JSON dumps to handle special characters. Oh, no. Which also escapes the delimiter into UFFFF. An escaped UFF. Format. Which also escapes the delimiter. Okay, I'm not sure if this explains the intention. Add paths directly into SQL because path expressions cannot be passed as bind variables on org. I think that's what the current yeah, we already have this comment elsewhere. See comment and key transform. I think I'd like to read the documentation for JSON dumps. Escape. Right. Ensure ASCII. Yeah, this is the reason why um, the thing with the delimiter is serialized into explicit, like backslash UFFFF instead of this single character, because we encode it as ASCII. Okay. Um, with ensure ASCII. Mm. Let me think. Sorry, this is going to take a while just to write the code comment. Into the literal, well, um, I think it's passed through JSON dumps with ensure ASCII default to the delimiter, the escaped format. Yeah, I think that's good enough. This means, yeah, this ensures, yep, I think, yeah, thank you, Copilot. Okay. Now I wonder whether we should just copy the same comment here, or whether we should just write like C comment in key transform. Oh, I think that's good enough. 1 second, let me make sure. Okay. And we need to add a comment here. SQLite doesn't support double quotes in JSON path expressions. Um, for the lookup functions. And then we refer to the ticket number. Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. I think we can just amend the commit because, yeah, it's just a simple, well, it's a small fix that doesn't need to be made into separate commits. So amend commit and make sure we rebase from the latest main. Okay. And for good measure, let's run the tests again. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so all of them passed. So we are good. And I'll just push this. With force with lease. Okay. Thanks, I agree. I agree that a feature flag is not needed. And then I think we should use, instead of test skips, so that we will be notified if SQLite fixes the issue in a newer version. Okay. I've updated the commit to do so. Yep. Thank you. That um looks great. Yeah, I originally wanted to, well, I initially couldn't get the passing clause. Well, I couldn't get the passing clause to work, so I considered adding another database feature flag. For the single quotes specifically, so that can specify multiple flags for each tested key. Mm, this structured the test in a way that would make it easy test multiple flags, but that's not necessary anymore. I've split the tests using with your suggestion as per your suggestion. Oh no. Why did I not get notified for this? Yeah, this is a rookie mistake because one of my code comment exceeds the maximum line length. So 55. Wait, what? Oh, this thing. Yeah. Well, okay, yeah. So to split this into two lines, what we can do is, let me just, okay, yeah. We end the string here, and then we add another double quote. Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. And let me just wait until the linters have run and make sure that all is good before I trigger the Oracle tests. Okay. Right now, let's do buildbot test on Oracle. I think that's the right command. I'll just copy it. Yep. And in a few in a moment, we should see the Oracle tests. And let me just... Oh, I forgot to remove the actual feature flags. Damn. That was embarrassing. I already started the Oracle tests. Um, Yeah, I think that's all right. Yeah, that's why we should. Wait, what? Oh, yes, the base database features. We need to remove that as well. Right. Okay, that's why we need to make sure the overall changes are as expected before we push. Okay, yes, I think that's all good. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Let me just delete this comment and let's just wait for a bit and let me just review the code on GitHub. Okay, SQLite doesn't force. Okay, okay. Yep, that looks good to me. I think we should be safe to run the tests on Oracle. All right, I think yeah, I'm going to leave this ticket here for the stream, and I'll try to review another. Well, not another. I'll try to review a PR instead. Let me just get rid get rid of this documentation. Sorry, notifications. Um, okay, and close all these tabs. Okay. Yeah, the PR that I wanted to review is the JSON array function. Okay, I don't know what that is. Mm, what's this? What's this? Hmm. Is this one accepted? Mm, okay. What about this? Yeah, so to provide initially, sorry, this ticket was originally opened with the intent to provide implementations for a bunch of Postgres functions, and it became clear from the discussion that the most important bit was to implement a non-Postgres specific JSON array function. Okay. Yeah, so JSON B build object that's already implemented as JSON object, which I think was introduced in, I forgot which version, but yeah, it's been in Django for a while. Let's see. Mm, yeah, it's been in Django since 3.2. So yeah, it's been in Django for a while. Then there is also JSON build array and JSON array elements. Extract path, that's already equivalent to the, I think it should already be implemented using the key transform. Um, yeah, okay. Okay. If we are going to add these functions, they should support SQLite, MySQL, and Oracle. They are trivial to implement. Yeah, so if we don't implement the functions for the other database backends, then it's pretty simple to just implement them yourself for Postgres. So Simon said they shouldn't belong in core, but these ones, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. JSON array, yep. Value. Okay, yes. Okay. Yeah, I think for the JSON array elements, which I think, let me just read the documentation. Second, JSON array elements expands the top level. No, I don't think there are. I don't think there's an equivalent for this function on other database backends. That's interesting though. Set of, never heard of that before. Okay. Yeah, but I think that's Postgres specific. Okay, whereas JSON array, I do know that, like for example, SQLite has the JSON array function. Okay, all right, let's dig into the PR. Um, let me update my Twitch stream title. Reviewing Django PR. Okay. Should I update my YouTube stream as well? Oh, you cannot change it after. Okay. All right. Yeah, not this one. this. Okay, yeah, so let's review the PR. I think I'd like to also check out the code on my machine. Um, I wonder can do if I can use GitHub's CLI GHPR checkout. Oh, I haven't installed it. Okay, so I'll just add John's repo as a remote, and then I'll fetch his branch and switch to that. Okay. All right. Yeah, so let's look at the code. Yep. So they added JSON array. This is the function. The output field is JSON field, and it uses the existing flag for JSON object. So it has JSON object function. Modify JSON array for Oracle and Postgres. What's this? Null on null? What is that? Oh, okay. So I guess this means for SQLite, MySQL, and MariaDB, it's very simple to implement, which is literally just this bit. You make a subclass of func with the with your um, Python class name, and then you specify the database level function, uh, the name of that function, which is JSON underscore array, and then you specify the output field to be JSON field, and yeah, the base implementation of func should already take care of it. Let me. I think this is functions comparison. JSON object, JSON array. Yeah. Yeah, it already has like a template implementation for database functions. I guess I need to understand what this null on null clause is. Let me. Postgres and Oracle both remove SQL null values from the array by default. Adds the null on null clause to keep null values in the array, mapping them to JSON null values, which matches the behavior of SQLite. Okay. I guess I need to read the documentation for JSON array on Oracle. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, JSON array. Okay, oh yeah. So you can specify null on null or absent on null. So if the expression, where's the expression? Yeah, I guess if the value that you pass, right, if you pass if the SQL value that you pass to the function is an SQL null, by default, that value will be omitted from the JSON array. But if you use null on null, it's going to give you the um, JSON null value. So I guess just a quick demonstration of what this function is. Sorry, I meant to use SQLite. Yes, so select JSON array. I'm using SQLite just to demonstrate, right? So let's say I have the SQL string hello, and then SQL literal number 123, and maybe some booleans. What happens? Yeah, so it gives you a JSON array. So essentially, it's kind of like doing, like for example, in JavaScript, it's like doing JSON stringify, and you do, yeah, all the values that you pass in here, like for example, like this. Yeah, so yeah, that's what it gives you. But instead of having to explicitly create the array right like this, you use this function on the database level and you pass it SQL values, and it gives you a single JSON array with the SQL values serialized into JSON. That's why you see the hello wrapped with double quotes. It's interesting that false becomes the number 0 because SQLite doesn't really have a Boolean data type, so it just uses 0 and 1. And now if we have an SQL null, it gives us the JSON null. So that's why, and I don't think there is a way to customize the behavior of nulls, like whether it should just be omitted from the JSON array or whether um, to turn it into an a JSON null. Yep. Yeah, that's why we want to match the behavior on Oracle and Postgres. Okay. How does it work on Postgres? Explicitly casting source expressions is only required using JSONB build array or when using JSON array on Postgres 16 with server-side bindings in all cases for consistency. Avoid serving any source cast twice. Okay. Copy. Cast expression. If all of them are cast instances, it should just use the same object, but otherwise, okay, yeah. So I guess this is to avoid, so technically you don't really need this bit of logic. You can just copy the same object and then, like, if it's already an instance of cast, just use it as is. Otherwise, cast it to JSON field. And yeah, this extra logic is just to avoid creating the um, copying the object, I guess, because I'm pretty sure this logic already works. Like, it already avoids the um, wrapping of multiple of an existing cast. Okay. Okay. I want to look at the documentation for Postgres. JSON array. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it uses the same class as on Oracle, like null on null or absent on null. So yeah, it's the same thing. That's why um, we have this as native method. Okay. Okay, I want to see JSON object Postgres. Okay. Okay, before we go to the tests, I'd like to read the discussion on the PR itself. Mm-hmm. That makes me wonder what this feature flag is like on databases that do not. Okay, so all of the built-in database backends, they do support the function. So, oh yeah, I guess except for SQLite, which depends on whether the JSON extension is enabled at all. Okay. All right. Yep. Yeah. I think it makes sense to just reuse the same flag. Hmm, maybe. Yeah, I would assume um well it's hard to say, right? Because you'll need to think of a database backend that supports JSON object like it has a JSON object function, but it doesn't have a JSON array function. If you want to justify adding a feature flag for this. Mm, but yeah, I would assume. Yeah, I guess for now we can just use the same flag, and if someone who maintains a custom database backend, if they um, yeah, if they want to have a new flag for this function because maybe their database backend doesn't support JSON array, but it does support JSON object. I can see how this flag, how a new flag could be useful. But for now, I think it makes sense to just reuse the same flag. Okay. Yep. build out a payload for an API. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think we want to find out which version added the. Okay, so let's look at Django's supported database versions for Postgres. Okay, so 13 and higher, but for the next version, that's going to be 14 and higher. So let's look at the documentation for Postgres 14 and look for the documentation of JSON array. JSON build array. Hmm. Where is the documentation for null on null? Hmm. Okay, that's interesting. It doesn't. Why does the documentation not? Oh, okay. So, okay, here it is. Sorry, I just realized that there. It's so there's JSON array, but also JSON build array. What's the difference? And which one do we use? JSON build array. Okay. It's interesting that the documentation doesn't tell you that it's possible to use the null on null expression. Hmm. Okay, and Postgres 14. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see those parameters for the absent or null on null. Yeah, so I guess that was added in Postgres 16. Okay. On Postgres, providing the null on null clause without any values was a syntax error. So that's why there was length, the length of the source expressions. Okay. I'm going to put on some music actually. Just some ambient music. Or maybe this one. Actually, I'll just play the whole. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to try making a few changes to this PR just to see what happens. So the first thing that I noticed was the fact that where is it? This all check. I don't think this is necessary. It does save you from copying the object, but it does add a bit of a, I don't know, it makes it slightly harder to understand the code. Like, why is this necessary? Because in the else block, we also check whether, like, after copying the current function instance and then we iterate through the current source expressions, we check whether the expression is an instance of cast, and if so, just use it as is. Otherwise, we cast it to JSON field. So that means if all of the instances of the expressions in the current source expressions, if all of them are cast instances, that's already, yeah, we're not going to double cast it anyway, because yeah, um, we're, we'll just we're just going to be using it as is in here. So yeah, this is like a small optimization, I guess, because it skips copying the function. But I don't think it's worth adding, because you still need to iterate through the source expressions anyway. Yeah, it makes it slightly harder to understand. Like, it's less straightforward. So technically, we can just do this, I think. Okay, so I've removed that, and let's run the tests and see what happens. And this is Postgres, and it's in one second. I don't know what the test name is. It's okay. DB functions, comparison, test JSON array. Okay, yeah, so that passed, right? And I think, so let's, just to be safe, I know that I only changed the Postgres implementation, but I think let's also run the tests on the other databases. So DB functions, comparison, test JSON array. Okay, yeah. So I think do we need the if first if here? If I understand it correctly, the else block would skip doing the cast if the expression is already a cast. So it's going to, so if all of them are, if all of the source expressions are cast instances, they are already, so if all of the source expressions are cast instances, the will also be left as is. The only benefit from checking it in the first from checking the all case explicitly is that we don't copy the current we don't copy the current function. If that's correct, I'm not sure if the benefit is worth the reduced readability. Oh, is worth over the simplicity of not special casing that of not all. Yeah. For example, yep. Okay. Oh yeah. So yeah, it doesn't use the as native method on Postgres higher than 16. Sorry, lower than 16, because yeah, it doesn't support the null on null case. Instead, it just uses .sql with the JSONB build array function directly. Okay. Okay, where is the Postgres documentation? Okay, here it is. Value expression format JSON. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so if we look here, hmm, yeah, so the JSON array function, um, I guess it, it expects the value. One second. Um, okay, I need. I think I need to take a break, like a 5 minute break. I need to use the bathroom. So let me just switch to a different scene. I need to change the text. For some reason, I cannot do it. Um, where is it? Oh, okay. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Where was I? Oh, by the way, I forgot. Did we start the Oracle tests? Okay, yes, we did. Nice. Yeah, it's still running. Okay, let's go back to the PR. I don't know if you can hear the music at all or whether it cuts in and out because yeah, it's just an ambient soundtrack from Splinter Cell, and I do set the volume to be quite low, so maybe I should turn it up a bit. Okay, maybe that's a bit too loud. Okay. Okay, so explicitly casting source expressions is only required if JSON-B build array is used, which is the case on older Postgres versions, or when using JSON array on Postgres 16. I guess it's because with JSON array, it expects the value to already be in JSON format. So it's like a string that is in JSON format, but on the SQL level, it's just a SQL string. Whereas with JSON build array, it's a variadic any type. So yeah, it can be any SQL types like this. That's interesting though, but this. Oh, right. On higher versions, it's only with server-side bindings. So I guess, yeah, server-side bindings probably don't work with variadic types. Okay. But it's done in all cases for consistency. I think there was a similar PR or JSON object that I didn't get to review. Oh, that's interesting. I I'm sorry. I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like reading this thread, it's a bit I don't know, too nitpicky for such a for something that's not I want to say not important, but I guess it does optimize the performance, right? But it's a micro optimization at this point, I think. It's just yeah, I don't know what to say, but yeah. I mean, at least in the end, Mariusz and Polo reached an agreement. But yeah, I mean, it's not like there was an argument in the first place if because well, like the argument about um, it could require more memory is not correct because as previously said, the string.join function sorry, the method converts to list anyway, so yeah, it shouldn't change the memory consumption. And yeah, if we provide a list up front, um, it should be more efficient. Okay, 1 second. Um, I was replying to a text from my friend. Okay, so this one is merge. That's not what I'm looking for. Let me switch to a different music. Okay. Okay, yeah. I think I understand what's going on here. Okay. in case. Oh, I need to review the previous PRs because they are somewhat connected, and the new JSON array function is like the implementation is following the JSON object implementation. Yeah, it's done in all cases for consistency. Right. Okay, since this one was already reviewed by Simon Charette, I think yeah, we do want to follow the behavior of just using the same SQL, whether you use server-side bindings or not. So, okay. Let me change the music. This one is probably okay, but okay, yeah, this one's better. For the simplicity and consistency. Okay, I think before we start adding this function to DB models functions comparison, before we add this function here, should we take the time to, should we assess whether we do want this function in this, sorry, in DB models functions comparison? I know that the existing JSON object function is here, so it does make so naturally it does make sense to just put it here as well, to put JSON array here as well. However, let me check. the functions in here are. Cast. Okay. However, given your example use case of the function, it seems these functions of JSON array, it seems these functions are more likely to be used for building JSON objects and arrays directly in the database as part of the to be returned to Django rather than to be returned to the app level code rather than to be used for comparison with another database value. Let me look at the example use case again. Yeah, for example, it's to annotate not sure how JSON comparison, how useful JSON comparison is on the database. Not sure how useful JSON can be. Anyway. Wait, JSON object comparison is rarely useful anyway. Because I don't know how JSON comparison works in the database level. So for example, if I have bar, is this equal to the same, a different object with the same shape. Okay, yeah. JSON comparison. Okay. Maybe it can be useful. Seems. Also, consider the another upcoming feature, JSON set, which I've been working on with Shafia as part of Google Summer of Code. So also consider another upcoming feature, as well as the potential, potentially the potential of the other JSON functions you mentioned in the ticket. I feel like I think we should create a new module for JSON related functions. For example, in Django DB models functions JSON, similar to how we have Django DB models fields JSON, but they should be exported from the higher level module Django DB models functions as they are now. If this is agreed, we should move JSON object to that module as well in a separate PR. So database functions. JSON object. Yeah, we never really exposed the comparison module, right? So it should be safe to just move JSON object to the JSON, a new JSON module. Okay, 1 second, let me switch to a different music. Okay. Right. It should be safe, I think, since we only document importing from DjangoDB models functions. Okay. Yeah, so about the null values, let me read the PR again. Oh, nice. Marius has approved the PR. Let's see. Okay. I love this soundtrack. It's from the GoldenEye James Bond video game on the Nintendo 64. Even though I've never actually played it, but I know that it's quite a legendary game during its time. So yeah, and yeah, it's got a very cool version of the double O. I don't know how you say it. Is it 007 or 007 theme? Yeah. This one is from Castlevania. Okay. All right. Yeah, so it's been approved, which is great. Let me just ignore this for now. What about the null? In the future, it would be nice to add an on null behavior to the function. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I'm thinking about adding the null support anyway. But maybe we should leave it for a future PR to be done separately. Okay, now let's look at the tests. So test empty, yeah, that's a good idea. Always test on the non-ideal cases. Okay, that works. JSON array, basic value name, and with, okay, yes, so this is a literal name, and this is referring to the field name. Okay, that works. JSON array. Okay. Nested, that's a good one. Nested empty, yep. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is an explicit cast. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think this looks good. I think the bit that I'm not sure about is the fact that we always use cast, but what if the value is already in a... What if it's an expression that already has an explicit field? Um, so, cast. Okay, yeah, so I'm not familiar with server-side bindings, and I don't think I can test it. I don't know how, um, let's see, server-side binding, Postgres, Django. Server-side, okay. Okay, let's try that. I think I need to edit my test setup. And okay, I use Postgres 17, so that should be okay. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that this thing is absolutely necessary. So this should fail. Nope. Nope. That's interesting. Hmm. Sorry, let me um, lower the volume for the music. Okay. Yeah, so, not sure why that didn't fail. Am I testing the right file? Postgres features, binding. Yeah, we use server-side binding. Okay, so maybe try with a different um, database function. So let's try with Postgres 14. Ah, wait. This probably... I wonder if it's going to reuse the Postgres version. Okay, yeah, it's Postgres 14, and we do use server-side binding. Okay. Yeah, so I don't think we have any test that is failing currently. I don't know why, because looking at the PR comments, it seems that previously there were some tests that were failing with um, without the casting. Oh, right. Sorry, I should remove this and run it again. Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay. So that is test basic. That doesn't make sense. Wait. But I thought we don't have any expressions. Um, test basic, right? Oh, this one. Okay. So, if we don't cast it, it's going to fail. But what if we explicitly set output field to be char field? Okay, it doesn't work. Yeah, that's the thing that I was curious about, like whether we do need to use cast or whether we can just use value. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so that cast is necessary. Okay. Yeah, so I think other than that, yeah, this looks good to me. Other than this comment and the fact that we might want to put this in a separate file instead of in comparison.py. Okay. Yeah, I think I haven't really reviewed the tests. I mean, I'm looking at it and it's like, yeah, that makes sense, and so on. But I haven't like thought about all the other potential gotchas with these tests. So I think I'm going to, yeah, maybe I'll do that separately off stream because yeah, I I don't really like having to think in silence during the stream and think of other test cases. But yeah, I think the overall the implementation of the function seems pretty good to me. So yeah, okay, I'll leave my comment. So thanks for implementing the function on all databases. Wow. Oh, 1 second. I think I want to change something. And not necessarily to be used for comparison. Okay. Thanks for implementing the function. And overall, I think it looks good, but there's a potential simplification we can do in as Postgres. And okay, it looks good. Also, we might want to put the function to have a dedicated JSON module for all the JSON related functions. See comment for details. Since the ticket has been updated to only add to only be about adding JSON array, we can probably change the title commit message to fixed instead of refs. Okay. From an initial pass, I think it looks good. I might try to think of other test cases in the meantime, but so far, great work here. Okay. Done. Okay. Nice. What about the other? What about this one? Okay, I don't have time to review this. I think I'm quite tired already. But yeah, if I don't get to it um, next, well, if someone else, if this PR is not merged next week, I'll try to review this one. But yeah, I don't think I'll do this today. This is a good addition, though. I think this is going to be very useful for. Oh wait, what is that? It's probably okay. Yeah, this is going to be very useful for having annotations or like aggregates with multiple values, because currently only Postgres supports it using the array aggregate function. So yeah, this is going to be very useful. Although now, I wonder if this should be... Okay, 1 second. Although, I guess the counterpoint is which puts the JSON in the Django DB models aggregates, right? Yep. But I think that one warrants it, as you can... That one makes sense as in the overall aggregation context. Since there are other functions like average that are technically database functions but don't live in Django DB models functions. Okay. All right. So I want to change this to patch needs improvement, but I don't know. I'm a bit hesitant because it's a bit... I don't know. I don't feel... I would feel bad to essentially say the patch is not good yet, even though technically I already did in the PR. Yeah, but all right. I'll just leave the ticket as is, I think. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm done for today. So we have reviewed this PR. Oh wait, actually, sorry. Before I finish, there's one thing that I need to do. Yep. I wanted to leave a comment on this PR. Right. So, as mentioned during the Django Notes review session, This could be a problem if the query set does not execute a database query at all. As it would return the last executed query, which might come which may come from a different query set. A potential workaround is to where is it? Here. Okay. I think I want to comment here instead. Is to get a snapshot of connections self-db queries before the iterable is evaluated. The iterable is evaluated, then compare it, compare the snapshot with what the list of queries are now. If there if the list of queries, if there are new queries, then those are likely to be related to the current query set. This might also help with prefetch queries. So maybe instead of last query, we have, maybe instead of executed query, we should have we should make it executed queries instead. So it returns an empty list. If no queries are executed, which may avoid the discussion of whether, well, may also help with the decision on whether to return none or raise an exception. Decide course, um, this solution might not be safe for race conditions, though. Though I'm not sure if the current approach is safe either. Okay. Okay. All right. I think I'm done. I'm quite tired already. And yeah, I think it was quite productive. So we are about 3 hours into the stream, and in those 3 hours, we managed to do a few things. The first is we updated our PR to the point that it's actually approved now by Mariusz. So that's good. And then we also reviewed the JSON array PR. I think we need to sort by descent. Recently updated. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we updated our PR and it's now approved, and we reviewed this one and also this one. So I guess next week, if I do another stream, I'd like to review the JSON array. Um, what was it? JSON array aggregate. So this one, I think I'll add myself to the ticket. Okay, nice. Yes, so we'll do that next week. And if I have anything else, maybe I'll also do some more reviews. But otherwise, maybe I'll just do a short stream next week. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I don't even know if there was only, well, I don't know if anyone is still watching now, but yeah, if you're still here, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's been useful. And actually, before I leave, let me just put on a celebration sound as per usual. I say usual even though this has only been the second stream. All right. Oh, actually, let's do that again, but with the PR approved. So um yeah, let me open the ticket again. Okay, yeah. So today we have updated the PR based on the review from Mariusz, and I pushed the changes, ran the tests on Oracle, and it's now been approved by Mariusz, and the tests have passed. So, yay! Yay! All right. Yeah, so I think that's it. That's the end of this stream today. Um, I I'm not sure if I'll do a gaming stream after this because it's already quite late. But I don't know. Maybe if I still have some energy left in me and I do want to play some video games, maybe I'll do a stream. But if not, then I'll see you later next week. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Let me put on some closing music just so that um, I don't end abruptly. 1 second. Okay, yeah. Um, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so let me switch the scene on OBS. So yeah, see you on the next stream and enjoy the rest of your day.